Welcome back to the Ranagade Show. Powered by China Jam. I am your host, Ranagade PerRana, with my trusty, never dusty
I hope not.
brother, America. So we are back with another one for you guys. We have a live audience because motherfuckers ain't doing that. I hope you beep out all these F words because I shouldn't be dropping them so soon. But, you know, here they are. So, yeah, we got a live studio audience because I believe you do best when you are actually speaking to someone because it makes the most sense. There is
The people are here and
receiving
we're speaking
end.
to the people.
Yes, we're speaking to the people. So, what you got? Oh, I was just joking too that everybody apparently knows around here what's going on except me. So, you got this whole shit laid out. All right,
That's
what you
right.
got for me, Reza? Come
All
on.
right, so it's episode 12, or we're not saying 12 because you don't like 12.
Yep, it's the episode before episode 13.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the 13th floor thing, we're not, we're not acknowledging this number. Okay, so what I wanted to talk to you about is something that's been going on that's affecting a lot of shows that we're watching,
Oi, oi.
a lot of the content in the world, and it's the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, strike against about 600 collective studios, and they're asking for more money in streaming rights. A lot of shows that we watch, like Tonight Show, Saturday Night Live, Real Time with Bill Maher, these shows are on hiatus right now. There's some more streaming shows that are going to be put on. So what do you kind of make of this whole writer's strike? They're asking for their rights when it comes to streaming to kind of get respected. The writers are asking for more. And we got a director in the crowd here, Corwin, a good friend of ours.
Yep.
Corwin
Director
Jaguar.
extraordinaire.
And
The
he's
greatest American director of all time.
so he's our featured sort of audience member for this, and we kind of want to open up the
Wow.
discussion.
Somebody want to go get the door. We always got guests pulling up. And, you know, motherfuckers be late.
So should we just reset again?
No, just what
Just
the
keep
fuck? Listen, you know, one monkey don't stop the show. You heard? Keep going. Come on.
All right, so Writers Guild of America, they are on strike right now. A lot of big shows that we're talking about are on hiatus. What's your sort of reaction to this situation? What do you think it means for the entertainment industry?
I don't think I know enough, and I'm really irritated that my doorbell keeps ringing because when you're late, you should never be rushing others. That's the rule. If you're going to be late, you got to be relaxed. You heard? Because you're the late one. What do I think about this Writers Guild strike? I think I'd like to know a little bit more about it before I make an opinion because I don't think I have enough information on everything that's going on. Does somebody want to fill me in?
I can add a statement.
Come on.
That would help it. So basically, it's driven in large part by the shift to streaming. Writers are finding their work devalued in every part of the business. Company profits have remained high and spending on content has grown. Writers are falling behind. The companies have used the transition to streaming to cut writer pay and separate writing from production, worsening working conditions for series writers at all levels. So basically, in addition to that, you know, a lot of the writers live in like big cities of America,
Absolutely.
like LA, New
Yep.
York, and so they can't really sustain, a lot of them can't sustain like
An actual living
rent,
wage.
yeah,
Yep.
like stuff like that. So
Okay. Is there you want? Yeah, because I believe you had some insight on it too, and then I want to hear what your opinion is before I give mine.
Yeah, everything he says pretty much like, you know, right? I have a little bit of experience. I've directed a few projects for Showtime, Spotify, Apple Music. Sold a couple shows to Macro Television. Also working with Paramount right now to sell a show. So basically what is happening is a lot of people do think like writers make more money when they actually do. 50% of writers' paychecks are gone immediately from like agent, lawyers,
Yep.
and managers
By the time they get
that they have to have already. And you know, the golden era for writers used to be what network television used to pay like proper residuals.
for
They
syndications and things like that.
used to
Gotcha.
be able to be able to have a metric of like how many
Viewers.
audience members you had and who was watching and how well the show was doing. Now Netflix and HBO, companies like that don't release that type of data. So you never really know
Right.
how much you should be getting. So
Right.
now there's writers' paychecks who's went from like, let's say $2,000 to $3,000 a quarter as residuals for an episode that they wrote for network television, to like seeing $3
Right.
in residuals.
Thousands of percentages
because
down.
Netflix
and,
is
yeah.
considered new media
Right.
And it's not network television, even though like even though like streaming is putting like ads and doing everything that networks were doing before. So outside of that, they're also striking about, the advancement of AI. Obviously, AI isn't all the way there as of today, but what they are saying, what they might be doing is using writers' past work or using writers'
To
current
just
work
recreate,
to do
regurgitate stuff.
rewrites,
Right. Yep.
and which further cuts the writers'
Yep.
pay because writers in their contracts used to have like punch ups,
Yep.
which meant that like if you signed a contract with Paramount to do a staff writing job, you'll get, let's say, 30,000 for this script, and then you'll get another 10,000 for the rewrite per rewrite, and you get like 2 rewrites.
Right.
So now they're like cutting basically
All
their
that.
pay in half because
Right.
like if we can train our AI with your script,
Got you.
and your context and think.
Is it okay? And then this goes right in line with that whole thing where they said originally when these contracts were made, it was streaming was only YouTube, but now streaming has somehow become the Hulus and the Netflix and the Primes and all these other things. Also, I think all I'm really hearing is it's exactly what happened to the music industry happening to the film industry.
I felt like there's people have been talking about this for years, but music industry needed a union a long time ago,
Yep.
but
Yep.
it wasn't possible.
That's right.
Was
And there
not
isn't one
possible
right now,
because
right?
everything is like signed over.
Yep.
But the reason why this works, and maybe every other union kind of does the same thing in this in kind of like the country, is because unions kind of band together and can do something like a work stoppage and kind of play ball with the big corporations, as opposed to like music industry where the big
You
corporations
can't. There's another
just
kid
get
ready to do.
together,
Yeah, for sure. They
and
run
it
the whole
just
show.
is what
Yep.
it is. They just made
Yep.
the rules and
Yeah,
it's
that's
over
right.
with.
Well, like
So-
Prince had a whole thing, and they just were like, okay, cool. You don't want to have your catalog on any streaming? Fine. When, like, if you had the records, absolutely. So we've seen this happen in other industries. I think the other thing it makes me think of, the first thing I think of is there's so many things to address, but with the AI thing, I think it's important to note that AI has taken what mankind has created and is building its intelligence off of what we have created. You understand? When AI makes all of that art, it's basing it off of images we've created for it out of our imagination. So we can't forget, yes, the AIs are becoming extremely powerful, but we can't forget or negate the fact that a person's human experience and their individual perception of their story and how they perceived it is what moves you. So yes, an AI could take a bunch of really moving stories throughout time and create you the most moving story ever. Because you could say, oh, what's the most romantic story? The Notebook. What's the saddest historical thing? What's a revolutionary? Nat Turner. Like, what's some of these stories that you can take? Okay, well, I need a movie in this genre. Okay, well, what's the best ones in that genre? I can create you something off of that, right? Which is then you have, certain, like, film industries already kind of do that because they already take things that you've seen. Like a lot of foreigner film industries will take things that have kind of already happened in mainstream media and then create their own versions of it, which then are just as powerful. But I think the most important thing to note here is that humans can't forget their power in this because our imaginations originally are the building blocks that then AI is going crazy off of. So a child's experience of something, a story that has never been told can never be AI'd. There is so many stories that have to yet be told. There's like, I'm looking at people in right now that are from all different types of backgrounds, have all sorts of different grandmas and grandpas, and have different great-grandparents. And like our story is so different than your story versus your story versus your story versus yours versus yours versus yours. Like we all have.
And even your story versus my story.
Absolutely. So, yeah, could they make a moving tale? Absolutely, you can. You could retell a story that didn't happen to you and move someone.
Well,
but
see-
when someone tells their own testimony, there is nothing more moving than that.
So
So
what
write more, people. Don't fuck the system. Yes, like strike and do it. I wish the music people could do it. But ultimately, the people have to continue to create. You have to. You must.
So I want to say something that you talked about earlier, which is that any kid that can just download a music creating app thinks that he made a beat just as good as something the Migos did.
Sure. Yeah, a little
And
punk ass
I
little kid.
think I think it's really important to note here there's artificial intelligence, but there's not artificial wisdom.
No.
Writing, great writing, is not just about intellect. It's not just about performing the
you'll
task of
never-
writing. It's about understanding the
Yep,
zeitgeist. It's
for
about
sure.
understanding culture. It's about understanding moments. And as much as we can have artificial intelligence,
Yep.
we haven't reached artificial wisdom.
Absolutely.
You can't just interweave something wise,
Yes.
something anecdotal,
Yes.
something profound just because an AI system has, scripts on hand. It can't.
And those
it can't
scripts
recreate
are based,
the soul.
and
you
those
know?
scripts are once again based off stories that it has already picked up.
Exactly,
When
yeah, it's just
when
a
when
regurgitation,
Tupac
yeah.
hit the crowd, you ain't never seen nothing like him.
Yeah.
You didn't even know that existed until he showed you.
Right.
When DMX comes out and it's his story, you didn't see that till he showed you his story. Like, you don't know the story of, I don't know, Little Kim till she tells you what her tale was, what her version was. You don't know you don't know that revolutionary song until Bob Marley sings it for you. You don't know what chanting down Babylon is until Sizzla sings it to you. You don't know what these things are until somebody shows you. Like if I were to watch a movie from a different culture, I didn't know that existed until it was created in my mind. So the people of the world have to tell their stories. Like Big Pun was necessary.
Right,
You needed a
yeah.
Puerto Rican boss playboy to talk his shit. You needed Jay-Z to talk his shit because you didn't know that could exist until he did it. You didn't know that Sophie Fame, you didn't know that shit was even, you didn't even know. You didn't even know that was the real thing. You didn't know this music could be turned into this music until it did it. But the sad part is we don't respect the people that give us the most. Once again, you don't respect your teachers. You don't respect the writers. Nobody respects the editor. Everyone's like, oh, you did such a good job performing, actor. Nobody respects the editor. Nobody respects the producer that has to sit there. Like
The dishwasher.
the
You always
dishwasher,
respect the chef, but
absolutely.
you don't
It's
respect the
disgusting.
dishwasher.
And
Right.
and our eyes have to be adjusted. Your eyes, as the beholder, your eye has to be adjusted. You're not seeing that person. Like back to the last episode where you're talking about the mother isn't respected for all the work she does at home. Or the father isn't respected for the back-breaking shit he does all day long. Like, respect the work that is invisible almost. Because you just saw the episode. You just saw that actor deliver that line. Do you know how long that writer had to sit there and really create
Or
the words or the flow?
the sound guy, or the
The
lighting
gaffer,
guy.
whoever,
Yeah,
absolutely. The guy
exactly.
who holds the boomstick, right? Like every single person's necessary, but ultimately, the person in this creative spectrum, there's the content producers and there's all of these things. But the ultimate thing that's necessary in this entire thing to happen is the artist. Is the person telling that story, is the person seeing that vision, is the person that went through it and telling you what it is. So as a director, I've seen you sit there. It's every day that I've known you, you're literally sitting there working on your work. You're one of the hardest working human beings I know. So shout outs to you. You definitely are digging through your mountain. Your diamonds are waiting for you to get. I promise. I know you. You're on your way to the greatest greatness of all time. But you as an artist have to tell your story. Nobody knows your story. To this day, nobody's told the story of a girl who did everything I did. Nobody's said like, oh, a girl can really talk shit and be a boss and not be a bird and not do no funny shit and don't sit there trying to tickle the boys' fancy and do all of this other stuff and really show up, hard work, determination. You haven't seen that yet. Like, Tony Montana's character didn't exist till dude played it.
Yeah.
You didn't know that this was a thing. You didn't know. You have to be told these stories in order to know that they exist, which is why the sad stories have to be told because new generations don't know it. So while we're older and we've already seen it told 10 times, that 6-year-old kid needs to see what everything looks like still, you know? So the
and
writer...
I think that's why it's so important to have the writers
so
be
in that
respected.
in that whole thing that is responsible to bring you the experience as an audience member, you have to respect the artist and all that because the artist is the one sacrificing everything that they have in order for you to have an opinion on them, in order for you to be potentially moved. Like for someone to sit there and tell you their sadness or their woes or their joys or their triumphs, all they want you to do is go, okay, or cry or have some sort of take away something from this. What is the point of all of these stories? Like, why is the Bible? It's like, why is that this book? It's just one story written. It's such a good story. It's really a true, it's a true thing for the world or a lot of all the holy books, or on the Torah and the Tibetan Book of the Dead, any of these books that you look at, yeah, it's one thing. Certain art, like when you take an artist's art, like the Sistine Chapel, dude, like a lot of these people didn't do that many things. They just did one fucking thing, and that one thing was good enough to last a lifetime. So it's sick when you say this writer doesn't deserve all these residuals. So did somebody else, like, isn't it always King James that wrote the Bible? Like, we're going to change the name on the bottom because somebody rewrote it?
Yeah.
Or, like, retold the story? It's the same. You understand? When you take someone's experience and trials and tribulations and put them on the table, that should forever belong to that person. So for the writers, once again, the people, the AI is essentially computing everything we've done. So it is our duty to continue to show the world our stories. All of our stories haven't been told. You know how many women have stories to tell? You know how many men have stories to tell? You know how many children have stories to tell? You know how many animals have stories to tell? There's so many stories to tell.
What stories do the animals have to tell?
Oh my gosh, think about like the happy feeds and the cute little like animal stories. Like I could tell Sabby's story. Sabby has a story to tell. The cat has a story. Everyone's animal has a story to tell. There's that whole thing where they're like the cat theory. There's like some sort of cat theory where they say that every cat in the world just chooses your like no one like ever adopts a cat. Cats like basically adopt us.
Yeah.
There's this whole like theory that these people have put together. I seen it on TikTok. So yeah, I think with the strike, I think it is a powerful move to say, I bet we're not going to do anything for you. But I think that can also shut out all of those people too, because the powers that be are that you are that replaceable. You are kind of that disposable to the point where if you kind of is almost like, okay, don't show up for work. We have another thing ready to go. And then also we've been talking about like the Harry Potter remakes and all these remakes for the past couple episodes too. It's like it ties right back into all that to say, you now have proven to yourself that people don't necessarily give a fuck about the writer or who the director was. Like when people watch a music video, nobody goes, damn, that was edited really well. Damn, that director killed this video. They're like, oh my gosh, he looks so good. He looks so good. Nobody, like, you understand? We've proven to ourselves, nobody thanks their mom for dinner twice. You might say, thanks, Mom, that was good. But you don't go back and be like, yo, bro, I could have ordered from 1,000 restaurants and it wouldn't have tasted like that. You did that, Ma. Like, you know, like, you don't necessarily care. So it's sick, but, you're going to find out when the stories stop being told. But at the same time, the only people that suffer will be us. Because those stories heal us. Those stories are our therapies. The writers telling their stories, the reason those stories have to be told is because that's how you heal mankind. AI does not have enough in it to heal mankind within itself. Like, we have to continue to give it shit. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Say, this whole conversation, I'm old enough to remember the Napster movement at first when musicians were doing the same thing and they were pushing back for the same reasons. It just feels like maybe this moment is asking writers to kind of like redefine their role, and maybe this could be a good thing because writing has so been diminished to such a degree now where, they're making dollars for
sure.
Yeah, and I just feel like maybe this could be a good pivot and like to put them into like a new realm of creativity, but because it caused writer or musicians to do the same thing.
I think
because streaming didn't go away.
Well, yeah, but streaming. See, okay, so I think we talk. I don't know if I talked about this elsewhere, but on here, but if you're playing Monopoly, you can't be mad about the game pieces you're playing with, right? So if you're a musician, like Metallica was like, fuck that streaming shit. Like, I remember Metallica was really upset about it. Prince was really upset about it. There was a few artists that like really clapped back during that era of like the Napsters and were like, no, you have to pay for our albums. We don't even want to play it on the internet. We don't want our shit on YouTube. We want you to have to respect the art and really have to come and pay, be grateful for it. I think the artist at that time should have said, okay, fuck all that music. We're going to make all new music that you have no access to, and the only way you can get it is to come see us live. You have to come to the shows again, right? So writers, fuck the streaming. Get theaters popping. You know how many theaters in America are vacant right now that nobody's renting out? Get theater shows popping. There's theaters all over America right now that are vacant. You're a good writer, make people show up. Let's get back to the roots of how we tell these stories. Let's get people together at parks
Well,
locally.
I think what the writers are asking is, how about these companies just pay them what they deserve?
Yeah, but the companies don't care. The same way in the music
Well,
industry.
that's why the companies need collective action to make them care.
Yes.
You're not allowed to just say it's more profitable, screw everyone, we have to do everything that's profitable. That's not the way the world works. Listen,
That's the way capitalism works, though, unfortunately. So the
I
same way
think
the
people in
musicians
capitalism need to stand up to capitalism.
I agree. I don't
and I
disagree
think
with
these writers need to say, listen, these streaming services, enough people watch them. You need to pay us what you're making off these. Listen, there was $2.5 billion worth of revenue loss in the 2008 writer's strike because these shows were not allowed to continue and they weren't, and all of this content was lost. They couldn't recoup it on streaming, and it's going to cost them even more money down the line because these shows, like The Office, that were really popular at the time, that had to have shortened seasons, aren't making all their money recouping on streaming later on down the line.
Yeah,
so what I'm
'cause the
saying
whole
is
shit is
this
broken.
argument that AI is going to replace people and replace everything is not only not correct, I think it's missing the point of what art is supposed to do. These AI images are never going to capture how people feel because
Agreed.
all they're going to do is they're just recreations. They're just
Yep.
something sort of close. And I think the problem with AI is that, like, okay, when it comes to mechanical functions, when it comes to science and math, sure, you can have a machine learn that thing, but is it going to apply the math correctly to these people? Like, there's AI doctors, there's AI lawyers. Do we really trust this technology yet? I don't think
No.
we should.
I mean, I don't think it's about trusting it. So to go back to what you were saying as far as the replacing it, I think when the artists have had to just eat it, that music and the music industry are not the same thing. Like, if you're an artist and you like your music, that is not the music business. Music business doesn't care about you being an artist. The music business doesn't care about all of these things. You've been told by 1,000 artists, they want me to drop this type of album. They want this from me. I'm owed this. I can't do this. I'm not allowed to. Blah, 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 blah. You've heard it a million times. The movie industry, at this point, it's like what you gonna do about it? What are you actually gonna do besides go outside and like picket and shit like that? Like, until you get people that are on this side, on that side, to fight for it, there's no fighting for it. Because bottom line is we want to make something that people go, wow, that's so cool looking. Like CGI took the jobs of how many fucking people that sit there and used to draw. You know how many artists used to actually have jobs ahead of them if they knew how to draw really good? If you were a kid who knew how to draw cartoons really well, there was a potential career for you. Now there isn't, because there's CGI. So now you got to be a graphic designer to get in there. Now you got to be a graphic artist. Okay, like these things just, they evolve and they keep going, right? The problem is you're trying to keep up with something that's faster than you. Instead of being like, fuck you, bro, I'm going to the theaters. I'm about to put on a show.
No, I don't think the problem is that it's faster than us. I think technology should move all of us forward. I think the problem is, it's like people like Elon Musk who think they own a tech company and they become a genius. The owner, Mark Cuban, is not a great basketball player because he owns the Mavericks.
Right.
Just because you're the owner of a tech company doesn't mean you're a genius. It's the people
You're
who are
business savvy.
the people who are moved the fastest and moved the farthest are the few. It's not all of us being moved forward by AI. It's just a few people making more and more money and getting rid of millions of jobs
sure.
in the process. And I think the problem with technology is not when it's equitable, when it's accessible, and it pushes every single one of us forward. It's when only a few people have hands on their levers, and they're the ones getting propelled forward, and all of us are being stuck behind. And I think that's the scariest thing about this AI thing, is that there's already a gulf between the rich and the poor. There's 4 people in America who own like 50% of the wealth in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Those 4 people with access to AI are going to get 70% of the wealth in this country.
Yeah, because half of these jobs I can just replace with all of this and not, because you don't care about the people. That's my point. But the people are the ones that entertain the people. This is the whole point of this is, yes, they literally got you by the dick. What you gonna do? Nothing. They got the streaming services. They run the whole shit. I could literally get a computer to make me this cartoon, and I don't need to tell the story of a sweet little mom at home that does whatever. But you can never get rid of that lady. There's a lady poppin'. My friends, a bunch of them got kids. Her name is like Caroline or something. What's her name? Carly I don't know. What's her name? She's like this cute little mom lady who apparently her kid was having like trouble following along with regular cartoons. So she started and she was a singer, she was a musical teacher, apparently her husband is too, so they just make all of these songs, but they're geared towards like kids who need, slower comprehension to kind of like sing along with songs and stuff. Bruh, millions of views, millions on every single video she puts out. Because you can't stop what's actually happening with people. Once again, AI is just regurgitating what you already did. Yes, there's like music industry got played the same exact way. Back in the day, you was really a writer. You really wrote these songs. You were just an incredible person who was an artist and whatever. Now there's writing camps. They invite 30, 40 writers to come in and make a bunch of hits, and now they own a bunch of hits, and now all they got to do is find somebody who can sell the look to make them an artist, and now here we got a bunch of songs for you. You could sing a little bit, bet. Here's a bunch of songs that we wrote for this person. You kind of fit the bill, you sing these. Why would anyone think that same shit isn't going to happen to every other entertainment industry? Because ultimately, there's bottom lines. At the end of the day, all you hear, what happens when a good movie comes out? Nobody goes, 78% of the people leaving the audience cried. They go, they made $412 million opening weekend. And then the next thing is, how much did they spend on it? They spent $100 million and they made $400 million. Great margins. Well, guess what? If I could spend $10 million and make the same $400 million, fuck is we talking about? Because the person putting out the movie isn't the guy telling the lady who wrote The Matrix didn't get no checks till 20 years later when she sued all them people to say that was my story. Nobody cares about the writer, bro. Nobody cares. Everyone just wants to be entertained, which is but we done walked ourselves here.
But I think there's a problem with that. It's basically what we're saying is a writer to me is someone who is the mother of the concept.
Yeah.
And we're saying, okay, you did your job as the mother. You birthed the child.
Yeah, you're just
We're
going
to raise it for you. I think the mother should be involved in the raising of the child.
For sure. I completely agree. I 100% agree. However, it's not a but, it's however, it's right along with that. AI is only going to take over what the fuck has already been put out there. You can't take away from a mind like The Matrix. Why is it such a cult classic to this day? Because this lady really thought about some crazy ass shit and wrote it. It's supposed to be the son of the Terminator dude. It's got a whole little background to it. You didn't even know. Why did it move you? Because this lady really told that story. Now they can make a bunch of regurgitations off of things like The Matrix and amazing stories like The Godfather and all these stories. Why is The Godfather good? Because you never knew how Italians got down with they shit. Now you know. Somebody told the story. Why was Shatta's good? Why was Belly good? Because somebody needed to tell certain particular stories. Why is Power so good? Because you need to tell that story. Why is like a new artist that comes out that really like shifts the people's thinking powerful? Like, and I could think of so many people that you didn't realize this, like Wu-Tang comes out. You didn't realize like a collective of dudes could jump on songs together and really like talk some fucking 5%er shit and like make it sound super perpendicular to the square. Like what? Like it's, Abomatomically, Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses, like those don't sound like rap lyrics. It sounds like you're saying some book title type shit, right? Like you need somebody to do that though for you to say, damn, that's a thing.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at the movies that get tons and tons of publicity, they're not always the biggest hits. They don't win the awards. That's not always how it goes. Because as much as people want to make art a business, as much as people want to say, this artist has this much backing, this movie has this much backing, we're going to give it this much marketing, it doesn't necessarily make it a hit, and it doesn't mean it's going to resonate with people. Because at the end of the day, as much as everything is a business, emotions are not a business. And what clicks with people is not a business.
But those are the building blocks that they steal off the backs of the oppressed to then go and make their mass marketed shit. Girls wear hoop earrings and look mad cute. You can't deny it. Boom. Now you got Claire's and Fashion 21 or Forever 20. What are the fucking Fashion? No, Fashion. I said Fashion 21. Basically, same fucking shit. Putting out all the hoop earrings and being like, what the girls got on. What's the new shit? Fast fashion. Every single bit of this is what's popping. Show me, I'm taking it. And I'm mass producing it because you can't mass produce it. I have personal artist friends of mine that have made clothes or certain designs. I know it was their own creation. No, it didn't exist before. And then 6 months later, it's on a Chinese or whatever fast fashion website.
Yeah.
Because they go, oh shit, this shit's selling. But you can make a couple hundred of it. I can make a couple 100,000 of it. And I can get it to the hands of everyone in the world who also wants to be cool.
Well, I think when you're talking about, like Drake and Ice Spice. You talked about that in a previous episode where someone did like a kind of funny
AI, whatever, yeah.
AI of Drake singing that Ice Spice song. I think the theme of all of this is intellectual property. It's that people don't respect someone else's ideas, and they think they can just steal them whenever they want to. And I think a big culprit in this is TikTok. I think when you get on TikTok, everyone just takes someone else's skit, someone else's idea, and they just redo it their own way. Someone takes someone else's copyrighted song and uses it to get their own clout. They're doing a little dance move, I'm a savage, whatever. We talked about that too. And like how these TikTok dancers are not really that creative. Because what's going on is, and I heard Bo Burnham talk about this, the comedian, singer guy, and he's basically saying that we're all content machines. We basically just exist to feed the beast of content. And, you know, we're sitting here doing a podcast right now to feed the beast of content in some ways, right? And try to get ourselves out there. But, like, this is our idea.
I'd like to think I'm a digestive enzyme.
You're a digestive. You're like a probiotic chew.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And so I basically think what's going on is we don't respect other people's ideas because we're all chasing clout. We're all trying to get further ahead. And, you know, this is your idea. This is my idea. This is, you know, an original concept. We're trying to do something different here. And I think people respect original content. That's why, you know, like when you're talking about Wu-Tang, why did Wu-Tang break through? Because they were original. They were different from what was going on.
Yeah, it's a story that needed to be told, tying it right back in. Like, AI can tell you whatever little version of a story that it wants to tell you, but ultimately, people have to tell their stories. Like, you don't know every single person's personal plight. Like, you could tell me the story of your great-great-grandmother and some shit she went through, and, like, nobody has heard that type of story. There's so many stories that need to be told, but I think with, like, the YouTubing and all of that, the voiceovers and all that stuff, I don't know if we're all content machines. I don't know if I fully agree with that guy, because I think some people are absorbers. I think some people are the entertainers, and some people are the ones that want to be entertained. I don't think everyone is an entertainer. I have personal friends of mine that don't give a shit about putting on a show for nothing or nobody. They really just like being in the cut. And then there goes me, always putting on a show, always entertaining, always ready to, you know, bring a smile or shed a tear or whatever it is. I think there's different sides of it, but I think people are seeing where attention is being given to you and how you get attention. So right now, tying it right back into the Writers Guild Association's strike, you have people who they think that is the way you get it. The way you get your message out there is by going and asking Netflix to stream it for you, which is awful. I hate that we're there. I mean, we need to kind of get control back of things by making things more tangible versus digital, right? Which is why you have a lot of like independent artists now that drop their shit on like cassette, and they'll actually drop vinyls. They're not necessarily putting it on the streaming platforms or whatever. They don't care about that. They're super like, you know, whatever, off the grid type artists. We love them. God bless. But now you might not get the masses' attention. But at the end of the day, the masses' attention, they'll always come back to those little quiet corners of the kids who are putting out the actual cassettes and the vinyls to get the new ideas. Like, no matter how mainstream this shit gets, you're gonna go right back to the hood to see what's actually like the pop-in style in any country. You're always gonna go to the oppressed to see what they did, because that's where creativity resides. Like, all this, like, fashion is so whack right now because everyone's just trying to, like, do what they think hip-hop is. Why hip-hop was poppin' at the time hip-hop was poppin' is because there was really no access to the super high-end stuff. I mean, yes, that came around, like, mid-90s, but your sauce had to be based off of you rocking shit and making it look fly. Like, it don't matter where I got this from. I made this shit look poppin'. Like, Dapper Dan was putting stuff together because it's saucy. And then the major brands that he was knocking off, because you understand, it's such
started knocking him off.
Literally, they're like, oh shit, puffer jackets, that's where it's at. Or this style, oh, this is saucy, this is what everybody wants to wear.
And I've heard you talk about this a lot. It's like, people are authentic. People have some sort of cool to them. And then people just try to profit off of that cool. They try to do
cool
whatever they
is
can.
purchasable now.
Exactly,
You can buy cool. So you had to, at a certain point in life, you had to go to a neighborhood or to another city and be cool enough to be able to go outside with whoever you was with, to be able to now hit the block and maybe pick up a couple of new slang words and be able to take them back home and maybe like say them. If you know, you're a New Yorker, you go to LA, you go back, you might say like, hey, cuz, like something like that, right? But you had to be cool enough back in the day to be in LA and be outside and let somebody come hang with them and do that sort of thing to now be able to say, I have earned these stripes. You had to earn these stripes. Now you can just go buy the stripes. Now you can just put on the look. The worst thing to have ever been was a wannabe or a poser. Every single kid on Instagram right now is a wannabe poser. That's not you. You put that look together. That's a look. You doing a look. I'm going for this look today, honey. It's this look today. That's not even you. You didn't conjure this garb.
Well,
from
not only
this
are
journey.
they're posers,
You
there's
didn't-
like guides to be a poser. It's like how to get this look.
Well, okay, yes. Now there's instructions for that.
Yeah, there's instructions. Like people are like out there like copying other posers while they're posing, you know?
The worst thing to have ever been in life, in my imagination, and for me, is somebody who didn't really walk that path to have on what they got on. Like if you walk up here and you really just playing games, that's cute, but you are a mannequin. You're a mannequin. You're an avatar. You are an AI creature. And at the end of the day, we, as the players, have to acknowledge that shit is goofy. AI is just regurgitating a bunch of shit players did. So if you ask AI to give you what an aggressive man is supposed to look like, he's gonna go and he's gonna literally try to mimic Mike Tyson in his prime when he was, whatever, not Mike Tyson now. God, I love Mike Tyson, his whole journey, but I love where he's at now. God bless him. He's so happy, and he talks about, where he was at, he didn't like whatever. Or you're gonna take the DMXs, you're gonna take whatever you think is aggressive, you're gonna put that together and try to create a new person. That's not it though. Because a tough guy doesn't always look the same. Anderson Silva was not like mad brolic looking, but he'll fuck you up. I mean, at the time, I'm sure his career went to left too, but whatever. Point being, you have to see it in order to understand it. Bruce Lee wasn't in the gym 24/7, but Bruce Lee created the 36 chambers and did all this
and he's not like physically imposing.
He's not physically like raw, big fella, but he could literally knock out every single one of us in a lineup.
All of us.
Right? Like
kill us all.
Right. So you have to see things in order to know that they exist.
Right.
And even if you went and asked an AI to create you all sorts of creatures, we'll still be mind blown if we find something new in the ocean. That's for real out here. So ultimately, I'm not moved by this shit. Because, bitch, you can never be me. AI. The only AI I acknowledge is Allen Iverson, for the record. Like, the only Christopher we acknowledge is Wallace. The only AI I will acknowledge is Allen Iverson.
What about Christopher from The Sopranos?
Christopher.
Chrissy.
We love Chrissy. Yeah, but no, so AI is cool, but you have to put things in their place. Like, you just doing shit I told you, so relax. And then for the Writers Guild, these people whoever's in charge here has to understand, you're letting go of the bird in the hand for the two in the bush. You have actual people that have gone through journeys willing to tell you their pain. And you want a computer to take a bunch of pains and slap them together. But hey, once again, if the money comes in, y'all better get back to them theaters.
But like we were talking about, like with Harry Potter.
It's cold as fuck too. For the record, if I sound mad, whatever, it's dumb. LA is weird. It's 90 degrees in the sun and it's 42 in the shade. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just
you're
shivering.
Fine. No, you're fine. So what I was saying is like, don't you find it a form of artificial intelligence how uncreative people are? Like when we just regurgitate Harry Potter or do that, it's not computer artificial intelligence, but what are you really contributing thought-wise to this situation? Aren't you just artificially recreating something?
Absolutely. You are taking a bunch of things.
Like when you're lazy and you're a lazy writer, it's artificial intelligence in some way. It really is.
Which is why one of the most basic things you were taught in school was to not plagiarize.
Exactly, yes.
Let's get back to our basics here. Do you remember you had to submit a bibliography or
It's
some
got to
shit
be your
like
own
that?
thoughts.
Where
Yeah.
if you took somebody else's bars, you had to give them credit.
Okay, I think we got a question from the audience.
Well, I think I'm leaning your side, definitely. That sounds hopeful. But yeah, I don't think the AI is going to have a chance because even I was thinking like a restaurant or, the regurgitation of all the stuff. A lot of things are regurgitated, but isn't it the human aspect of it? The reason why like a lot of these TikTok people, I don't do the TikTok thing, but the reason why they want to do it is because they want to grab something they think they might be able to do it just a little bit better. You know, that's the human side of it, where the AI can't do that. The AI has to just regurgitate what it's already been done, like you said. So it's repetitive.
Yeah.
You've probably seen it before, but the human part of it is with there's some exceptions, but the most people desire to do something that they might have seen, but put their spin on it.
Well, yeah,
and make
like,
it a little bit better.
Well, for
That's the
sure.
human
Like
side
for
of it.
as clever as AI is, if you asked AI, okay, give me somebody who's gonna be popping on IG, create me what a good Instagram feed would look like. AI could maybe be like, okay, it would look like this. These are the type of pictures. This is that. But you
aesthetic,
can never predict Hezbollah being like the most poppin' little fella on the planet. That little boy.
Hezbollah.
Hezbollah
is a
You know what I'm saying.
like that is a totally separate thing. Hezbollah.
Whatever. All right. Hezbollah. Sounds like Hezbollah.
But,
Anyway,
yeah, well,
God bless him. What I'm saying is you don't know what will grasp the hearts of man and woe man until we see it. You don't know what these stories are that's going to move people, which is why, like, you have to, once again, if somebody's story moves you, like Hasim the Dream, the guy, he was like a boxer. I remember I watched it. It was such a good story, man. Like that guy's story could be a movie. You have the Khalif Broward story, man. Ooh, like get deep, get painful with this shit, right? Like that's a story that has to be told. You can't get that unless you did that. You can't tell that unless you went through that. Like, I am Khalif Broward, for the record.
well, yeah. I think
You know,
to pick up on what you're saying.
Yeah,
like,
you have to tell these stories. So, go ahead.
Basically what I'm saying is we don't know what's going to change and enter the public conscious and what's going to matter to people. And we're never quite sure. Like Hezbollah, like you're saying, like who could have predicted?
You could never predict.
Who could have predicted this kid from Chechnya or whatever, is going to become like this massive viral star? We couldn't have predicted that. We couldn't have predicted.
Krishan.
We couldn't have predicted so many different things.
No,
like,
I'm telling you, like a heartfelt ass little girl who's like hella emotional. Like people love that. They feel her. They're rooting for her. You know what I mean? Like people you never you are always gonna root for the human story, So is it human instinct to get on TikTok and try to up someone? Maybe. I don't know if it's about upping someone. I just think people want to be part of what's going on.
Yeah, and I was going to say that.
People want to be a part of the community, and the community has collectively decided we're doing TikToks now. So now, if you're a kid with your parents, you probably don't feel like you guys are having fun unless you and your mom are doing TikToks. Let's say you're all constantly on TikTok, which it kind of takes away from what's really happening, in life. But
I mean, when we were kids, right? Like we didn't have TikTok. We had dance phases, and you used to dance all the time. You weren't trying to perfect the dances that were going around or do them better. You were just trying to get in on them. You thought they were cool. You wanted to do your own version.
Well, and I just danced. I was a dancer. When music comes on, I'm like if
and
the
I
music
think like
is the
social
ocean,
media,
I'm a boat in it.
And I think
I'm
like
moving
social
to the
media is like
fucking
the
waves.
thing the kids like get involved with now, and it's
Yeah.
like they used to dance, they used to play sports, they used to do more things, and now I feel like they're just trying to be better at social media than each other.
But hold on, let's bring it all back in. Once again, I'm gonna prove over and over again that the people got the power. For all the things going on in New York, all them kids decided, we doing drill. Stop playing. We about to be out here getting sturdy. We about to come up with it's a whole world. You better get in. So now everybody who wasn't in New York goes, oh, that's what's popping? How do you know that's what's popping? Because when you watch that video, it's 100 kids doing it on the block. And you go, oh, that's the wave. We're still in that. So now every big company goes, drill music, rap on a drill song, get me drill beats. That's not even you. Where if you got in your own community and got 100 of your own kids to come outside to your shit, people will rock that. That's what moves the world. Get a bunch of people to show up for you and have a conversation, and people go, oh, word. That's where it's at. That's how the church works. That's how religion works. You get a bunch of people together, and now you have actual credibility to move as a unit. But once again, these things have to be done organically within the community. Like you could do whatever you want to do. You could go to the label and the label tells you this is what's popping. And then you pop up one of them videos and you go, nah, that's what's popping. That's where it's at. Go to New York right now, bro. It's all, if you don't understand, you just don't understand what's going on. But that's where everything will get thieved from the people. So the people not only have to continue to create that magic, but also have to be prepared to be taken from. Because when you're the big whale, the little fish come live on your fucking chin. You hear me? And they feed off of you because you the big whale. So if we're the big fucking whales, then we just gotta be big whales and we have to be okay with the fucking parasites and have to acknowledge them as parasites. They're not us. They're not the creators. They're not the holders of this. They're not the ones creating the magic. Don't try to jump on some other shit. Go get 100 kids on your own block. And then everyone will go, what is that? If 100 kids were river dancing in fucking Ireland or some shit and everybody wanted to fucking river dance. Why? Because a bunch of kids was doing it at the same time. Fuck out of here, bro. Get your shit popping and everybody will come steal from you. But then you have to know when you're really an artist, you will get robbed. If you put out a fire-ass bag,
well, and that's what I'm saying with the problem
million of them.
And that's what I'm saying with the problem with TikTok. It's not that everyone doesn't find out about the river dancing or whatever the dance craze is in New Zealand or Africa or wherever in the world it is. These dance crazes come up in people's... It's that they get so stripped of meaning because everyone does it. Everything that you do, everyone else wants to do to try to get their own clout, to try to get their own name out there. And I think that's where intellectual property, that's where your own creative thoughts get stripped from you. They get taken away from you.
I agree with that. I think people do come and take things without understanding the actual culture of it, right? But once again, no matter how many boxer braids bitches get, you're never gonna touch them one little styles that come out. Stop it. Because you could do all of that, but as soon as you see them girls put that one braid going backwards over their ear, coming forward, you gonna get that. Because that's what's hot now. Stop it. You could do whatever you want to do, but it's not that original thing, right? Like, you can never take away from the sauce of sauciness.
Well, you were saying before that, like, it's AI that we can't keep up with. I think it's human beings that AI can never keep up with. It's like, whatever we find cool, AI is never going to keep up with it.
But it's like trying to keep up with your shadow. You can't catch your shadow, bro. The closer you get to your shadow, the more it's under you and disappears. Now,
but your shadow can never catch you either, right?
Well, your shadow is just following you. It's like you're trying to catch something that is kind of like your streak. Like it's your, it's like a shooting star. You understand? So in order to be a shooting star, you're essentially falling to you're really not even a star. You're actually just a meteor going through the ozone layer. That's really actually what a shooting star is. But here you are thinking that it's whatever. But ultimately, it's something dying for you to see it. Right? Something has to like give its life for you to feel away. And the people giving their life to express themselves that feel like they have to are the oppressed. Once you're comfortable, you're money. Awesome. Once again, it's privilege that allows you to say, I need help. I can't do this anymore. People that are fucked up are constantly trying to create something to express themselves with to try to get the fuck out of that. Sorry,
cool.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Okay, so what about the people who are not artists? And they go on TikTok and they're doing this weird shit, or
i.e. what?
Like just weird, going in the supermarkets drinking stuff, or not even weird, like they're just being themselves and they get famous because they're like mentally
unstable,
not there, or like they're being themselves, but they're getting famous off of that. Like, what do you think about that?
I think anytime you have a spectator sport. Is that the proper way of saying this? Like something,
what are you saying? I'll tell you later.
Like anytime you have a bunch of people standing around waiting to see something happen, the thing that they all look for is oddities. They all look for the thing that isn't them because they want to like see something, which is why like I have a whole concept that there's like a sorry, going a little left field here. Like, there's like those voiceovers is like digital blackface to me. Like, that's not how you talk. So you want to do a voiceover because that's your way of saying something. Like, I think it's really, really fucked up, and it really like makes me cringe. So like, get into that a little more. What do you mean by voiceovers or digital blackface? Like, at a certain point, you didn't let certain people on your stages. Therefore, you felt like you still wanted to represent them, but it was your version of how you wanted to represent them. So you blackfaced what you thought was a black character. Now you have people who take digital voiceovers of voices that are not their own or anything in their way of speaking, their tone, their pitch, or none of that. And they voice over themselves doing something dramatic because you would never let that person in your space. You would never seek that voice out. You would never have a real conversation with that voice, but you want to voice over that voice. So I'm very, very troubled by that. But I think that's then ties back into like, why are people online? Because they want to be involved in something and they don't know how to present themselves. And ultimately, once again, your AI, TikTok, regurgitated bullshit is you mimicking what you know actual cool sounds like, or actual powerful words sound like, actual meaningful words that have articulation or have different punctuations or like different, what's the word I'm looking for? Like
frequencies.
Yeah, like they're set in a certain way and you think that sounds cool
So
because
actually,
you could never say something that sounded that cool. So you think that like now doing this makes you sound cool. Just lame shit, bro. Like I hate it.
Okay, so actually, speaking of frequencies and mimicking frequencies, actually this leads us to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is Ed Sheeran winning his copyright case against the...
Never mind, none of my business. Go ahead.
All right, I mean, just grab away, go for it.
Sorry,
hey,
go
what's going on over
I don't
here?
know.
I don't know. Okay.
Okay,
Anyway,
so Ed what?
Ed Sheeran won his... Okay. Anyway, Ed Sheeran won his copyright case against Marvin Gaye's estate over the Let's Get It On song, and he had his own version of a song. And they said that the chord structures were similar. Ed Sheeran won the case. He said it's a big case for artists because it allows people to have similar chord progressions because there's only so many notes in music. You're an artist. You're an artist. What do you think about, people trying to protect their estate and trying to protect, their legacy versus people trying to create something new?
I'd like to say I've heard songs that sound really, really like other songs that don't get called out. But when I heard like the Robin Thicke and what's his name song, I didn't hear Marvin Gaye in that. I really didn't. And I didn't get that off that song. And then with this Ed song, I don't necessarily get that either. Where like with that, what is that? Childish Gambino
it's Thinking
song.
Out Loud is the
What's
Ed
that
Sheeran
one
song?
So. Redbone or something? Is that the name of the song? Bruh, you sound like Bootsy Collins. Why is Bootsy not suing you? Sorry, don't. I hope a lawsuit doesn't come after this. But
and if
bruh,
it does, Bootsy, throw us a little
certain
money.
things
Cincinnati.
certain things are actually you now trying to pretend to be someone else, i.e. Designer doing his fucking Future version of Panda.
Didn't Designer get caught masturbating on an airplane?
Bro, get him out of here.
He got caught
completely.
masturbating on an airplane.
Listen, I wasn't trying to hear that because I respect authenticity and people that give me what they've conjured. Like Future really gave you his shit. The reason his name is Future is because they said he sounded like the Future. He used to go by Meathead, I believe was his actual first rap name. He's part of the Dungeon family. Like he's actually...
Who was Titty Boy? Who's that?
2 Chainz.
Some of
2
was
Chainz.
Titty Boy.
Yeah, Titty Boy became 2 Chainz. But you have people that actually now steal a formula and then pretend to do that formula, right? I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. But once again, with art, there's only certain types of music. And once you want to express yourself and do a bunch of different things, now you can do that. Like I have rapper friends of mine that rap over all types of beats. But they like to rap and they like to flex how well they can rap over all types of beats. But they also then have their own personal style that is their style of beats, right? So if they were to put out an album, it would probably kind of have the same type of vibe to it and then maybe have a couple of different joints on there. So there's people that tap into things, but I mean, express yourself, but I hate when people say like great artists steal. I hate that. Because while there's nothing new under the sun, there is you being a brand new leaf on this tree. There is you being a brand new rose that just grew. Yes, you're another rose on this rose bush. You're another cherry that's growing on this tree this season. But you're still you, and you're still your molecular structure. You're still every morning you woke up and every night you went to bed and everything that happened to you in between. So your story is your story. And when you authentically tell your story, people really receive that. And then those become the blueprints that everyone then regurgitates over and over and over again, i.e. Michael Jackson, The Weeknd, the Justin Biebers, the Justin Timberlakes, or any guy named Justin who sings at this point.
What do you think? Okay, I don't know how to ask this. the difference between being inspired by someone or actually just copying them, just taking their stuff. Because you can be inspired, like, you know, you see an outfit and you're like, oh, I like
love
that. And then you're like, oh, this is similar.
I think
I like that.
I think there's moments where we do what someone else did, verbatim or like exactly, because you need to try out different things to see what fits you. I think that is part of growth. I think part of growth is saying what fits me. Like, thank God for me, I found hip hop and it fit me and it never unfit me and nothing else ever fit me. So, whatever. So I think find your fit, literally, figuratively, your outfit, your fit in life. If you're a circle, don't try to fit into the square. If you're a square, don't try to fit into the triangle. Like, find your shape out here of whatever your body looks like. But ultimately, what identifies people, even when you think about people that have left us, right? What identifies them is their aesthetic. Like Frida Cola is her eyebrows. Had that bitch plucked that shit, what would we be painting right now? That unibrow was necessary for all these paintings to be identified as her.
So getting back to this
Tupac's backwards bandana was necessary because to this day, that's Pac. Marilyn Monroe's white dress. Like, these things are iconic to you, so you do have to realize that, it's like your ghost outfit. What does your ghost outfit look like?
Okay, but when you're talking about hip-hop, what is someone who appreciates hip-hop and what's someone who appropriates hip-hop? What's the difference there? Because
when you walk the walk, it's the difference between someone who comes, it's like the fair weather church visitors versus like the guy who's actually righteous. When you're fugazi and fake and whack and not really about that life. And everyone else does too. That's why hip hop in reality is this beautiful place that allows different walks of life, as long as they respect the sanctity of hip hop and the fact that this is a voice for the same people who didn't get answers during the civil rights era. This is the same exact voice that was, hollering through rock and roll, hollering through jazz and all. Like, if you're gonna come and you're gonna grab the microphone in a land where that allows you to actually speak, because you wouldn't be able to talk this shit in most other countries. You wouldn't even be able to say none of this shit, right? So if you're gonna grab the microphone in a space where people who have actually gone through things are the creators of this space, if you actually have a powerful story to tell and you're coming in and that story is good, no one will tell you to be quiet. I.e., you have the big puns, you have the Eminems, you have French Montanas, you have lots of people that have come in and are.
And I think it's
Slick
take your
Rick
shoes
was
off.
from
take
Europe.
your shoes off when you come in the house thing.
Absolutely. Take your shoes off when you walk in, because you have to be respectful of what the purpose of this is. But I mean, I think everything gets taken though. Like, rock and roll was taken, jazz was taken, like metal was taken, everything that drill was taken. Like, get 100 kids outside to show that it's lit, and somebody's gonna come take that and now create the palatable version of it for millions of people. So what's the difference between inspired and just thieving, like thievery corporation level shit? Like, you motherfuckers that tell you, I could name you 8 imposters right now, I got 800,000. Where do I begin?
And we're going to list them all off one by one the next episode.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and wrap this one up.
Yeah. Wrap what up?
This episode?
Oh, I thought we were going. Oh, okay.
No, we're going to wrap it up.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on that. I didn't know. That's like, it's like, to see, once again, I have no idea what's going on.
And that's the beauty of it.
That is the beauty of it. To wrap it up, thanks for tuning in.
Like, subscribe,
comment, all that jazz. But AI ain't got shit on us. You hear me? We are the creators.
Unless it's
we
Allen
are
Iverson,
the creators.
and he could cross
you
both
hear
of us
me?
over.
And the only AI we acknowledge is Iverson. But create writers. I understand we're on strike right now. God bless. I'm with you completely. We're all with you. Whatever you need, we have your back. If it is even going outside and picketing, we'll do all that. But please don't stop writing. Don't give them your shit, but please don't stop writing.
Yeah, the world needs stories.
The world needs your stories, and your stories are powerful, and we're waiting to hear them. So don't worry about all that, because the 100 kids are showing up to hear your stories. Okay, I promise. We love you. Ranagade, PerRana, America, The Ranagade Show, powered by Shine and Jam. Over and out. Holla, 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 holla.